Alright, it's about time we get started, so let me raise the veil, as it were. Hello! It's Friday once again, and we're going to be continuing on the playthrough of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Well, Great Ace Attorney 2, specifically because we already beat the first game. And we're on the 4th case of this game. So last time we started the trial, and now we're in part 2 of the trial. Lots of interesting revelations gonna probably come up in this one, so I guess we'll just hop on into it, you know? Blah, 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 blah. Just making sure that I'm not muted again, because I've done that before. Oh, there you are, Rhoda. Kept you, my dear fellow. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Gina. You sure about what you said in there? That boss, you know, actually died the day before? It's pretty odd, this hollow. Yes, I was shocked by Revelation too, Gina. As was I, possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together. This is the autopsy report question, is it? Yes, it's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation. Or perhaps it was a deliberate omission. Oh dear. If it was deliberate, it puts me in mind of the last case we worked on. Dr. Sype. I know. Anyway, it seems that on the day before, Lord Van Zieks discovered his body. Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League. So perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it. You had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken back by their... No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put. My sleuth-hound interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of a weekly 4-pound income. And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, sis. And it was me what took him in. Thanks to my tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen. Indeed, yours truly. So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League, right? Yet. Didn't you? But you... didn't you? Had you? Why would the inspector have been investigating them? Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuth-hound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly 4-pound income. Don't tar him with your brush, with the same brush as you, Sholmes. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zieks for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zieks, and Cosma. I feel as though we know we've arrived at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over very shortly. Yes, you're right. Cosma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial. And he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. Are you ready then, Mr. Sato? Yes! Oh, there he is, back at stand.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Baron Von Zeeks, here present, who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Asuki.
My lord.
Have you summoned the witness as requested?
Oh, I think I turned my mic down a little bit when I was doing some recording the other day. Okay, I think that should be good. Yes, the two members of the Red-Headed League who planned and carried out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage.
Very good. Bailiff, usher the two men into the courtroom.
Ah, yes, these two. These two men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court. I am Fabien de Rousseau, a descendant of the great Rousseau family from Nice in France. My name is Pt.3 de Rossi. I'm the third son of the great familia de Rossi, the landowners from Napoli. The two men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Those who graduate from Temsic are the future leaders of Europe. But do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with noble blood? I lose. I make it my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little grey cells of my brain. That is all I am trying to do, eh? So, that's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out. Oui, you could say that. Not bad, eh? Here's the grand ideas, but the big plans. This strange combination is the charm of hilarious brothers. Oh god. See, couple? Listen to me, Peppino. I have two things to say to you. Are you about to tell me one of your grande anecdotes in Viva? Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this couple. And secondly, we're not the hilarious brothers. This is serious business. Che bello, there it is, the Campo's trump card, the first bro. Bro, it is deeper, Capo, the furrow in the meaning of your words.
The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. Is this true?
Oui, Siska.
And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you planned to defraud?
Allons, I will explain it. No, Capo, leave it to me. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair, no? At school we were teased for this without pity. The Capo here, he was many times behind the schoolhouse crying like the TV fountain. Where is these dogs? One day she will respect us redheads. Every night he would bury his head in a pillow and "C'est bien, Peppino, enough! I will explain the rest." The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London. Yes, we saw that notice. It was this one, I believe, entitled to the Red-Headed League. Oui, Siska, I am honored that you have seen it. It states that the only condition for joining the league is having flame-colored hair. And that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the league, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified in the advertisement. And from each person present, this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings.
And with the money to France, it was the plan most elegant, no?
No, it was most dishonorable. Well, to be frank, I'm stunned anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick.
The park's described by one witness as chocked with red-headed folk, like a coaster's orange barrow.
And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these two men spoke face to face with every single person present that day.
Oui, I've seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life.
Si, and now every time I see a couple's hair, I feel sick to my stomach.
Anyway, why have we been summoned here today?
Sorry?
The date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told.
Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph.
Very good. So, Mr. De Russo and Mr. De Rossi, you will now give your formal testimony for the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph. Of course, we are always ready to obey the law.
Alright, let's see what they got to say.
We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assembled in the park on Lime Street that day.
But I don't recall the man in this photograph, Capo?
None. I don't remember him. Obviously, he is dead now, but I assure you, he was not in the park.
Allora, this victim has nothing to do with us.
You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place.
You've given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain?
Oui, I am certain. We did not interview this man.
Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise.
It must be noted that you have been arrested for grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court has little confidence in your assurances.
Oof! With this attitude, we get nowhere.
He's really sulking now. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Red-Headed League, undercover.
Oh, I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, eh?
That is ridiculous!
There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, which means it's quite possible that's when he was killed.
Very well. The defense may proceed with the cross-examination now.
Yes, my lord. Okay, well, let's see. What should we press on? More than 1,000 redheaded people assembled in the park on the day. But I don't recall the man in this photograph. Why not? Why do you say that? He doesn't look at all familiar?
No, I don't think so. And this wig, he was trying to trick us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people.
Says the con artist. Between them, they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair. It would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face.
No, no, signore. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park.
But he's not going to give the court a definite, it seems.
Eh, Capo? You don't see a man like this, eh?
I don't remember him, and obviously he is dead now, but I assure you he was not in the park. How can you assure that, though? But according to what you said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day.
Oui.
That's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day. Surely then you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present?
Normally, the red hair is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around, then it is just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could give us, maybe then we could recall.
That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him? We aren't sure of that fact, huh? If there was a man with a red hairpiece, but his mustache did not match the color, then I do not think I could have forgotten him. Cosmo said these two had only been shown that photograph, and that they've been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed them just one other detail at the victim? For example... Ooh, his fish and chips is a good one. I can certainly appreciate that. Just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But what if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? Do you remember a man who was eating incessantly? Not really. I was looking only at the heads of the applicants. I wouldn't have noticed the fish and chips any more than the caviar and the smoked salmon.
Or a spaghetti. Me, I love the spaghetti.
Really? I had no idea.
Tell them again what you said before, Pino. Si, Capo, si. I see it again and again. Allora, this victim is nothing to do with us.
Hold it! Very not clearly. But we only have your word for that.
See, but what else can we do, huh?
True.
Oof, we are not having much of fun these days. First we are arrested, then we are shown the horrible picture of a dead man. And now you question every single thing you say. We are the victims here, eh? Hey, Capo.
No, you were caught carrying out a plot to swindle hundreds of innocent people.
You had to bring that up, eh? That's not fair. Hey, Capo. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It was your fault that we got caught.
Hold it!
What did he do to make you get caught?
What do you mean by that?
Cavallo, you promised not to say, Capo.
After we had taken all the money that day, we should have left the country. That was my plan. I left the purchasing of the tickets for the ferry to Duncray for my companion. But they bought them for the wrong day. Oops.
See, but it's an easy mistake to make, huh? The 31st, eh? Poof! I have no sympathy for you. We were an all day late for the boat because of your stupidity. It's only because of this that the so-called great red-headed detective caught us. Capo, you know what I think? This is the work of God. It's a holy punishment, eh?
Peppino, for the last time. This is not only punishment, this is only your fault.
Oh!
Don't blame God for your unholy mistakes. You're making me sick with anger.
Maybe I make a mistake, but when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is a festa.
And I've seen the evidence.
I guess I haven't pressed the first statement, so I guess I should do something. They haven't told us much we didn't already know.
What do you think, Mr. Naruto?
Well, if it was in the inspector's diary, it seems likely that he must have gone to Slime Street that day. And yet, these two both claim they didn't see him.
I have to say, they don't appear to be telling lies.
Well, they are experts in deception, don't forget. Sounding plausible is their specialty. They may be lying simply to avoid being implicated in this case as well.
Surely if they were truly experts in deception, they wouldn't have been caught.
Well, yes, you do have a point there. It seems to me like we need more information.
Definitely.
Alright, so I skipped the first statement, so I guess I have to press everything. More than 1,000 people assembled. Okay. Tell us more about that. 1,000 people? That's a very big crowd.
It was quite a spectacle.
Redheads came from all over the capital. See, the couple here has the magnetismo animale. Nobody else could attract so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the couple. All those people wanted was the money, Peppino. The 4 pounds per week.
Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants?
We that we did, because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take their names and we take their money, and we take their addresses as well. Then I tell them we take us some days to let them know by a post finito, maybe 2 minutes a person. We start early in the morning and we stop late in the night. So, you earned 5,000 shillings in one day? That's a small fortune. Who'd have thought there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with? One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair. Well, that's everything they had to say. I think that one statement where I had to add more information is where I probably have to get more. I think that might be... Which statement? Is that the second one? The third one, right?
Hold it!
Okay, let's zoom back to the choice again. They clearly want us to find more information for this statement. Okay, what was his name? What was his fake name he was using? I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. What if I told you that the man's name was Gregson? The man in the photograph is a Monsieur Gregson? Yes. Names, they are boring. I did not listen to any of them. Oh. Okay, so maybe the profession. It was not a real interview, huh? It was just for a show. Why would I remember the names? That's right. This changes nothing. The man in the photograph was not there, as we've already, have already said. I see.
It seems there's little to be gained from pursuing this point further.
Okay, so this is all the same dialogue for the post. See, I say it again and again. Okay, let's try press it in the profession. Maybe. Would anything come out of that? Because we already pressed the one that I thought was like the most obvious option. So what if I say profession? I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember in this situation. But what if I told you that the man in the red hairpiece was actually a detective? The man in the photograph? A detective? Yes. It would appear he found your notes in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Sorry, but this changes nothing. Oh. Okay, so it was this one. That's interesting. That was like the least obvious one, I feel like. Something to add, Mr. DeRossi? Si. I'm always adding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper. What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? Eh? What did you just say about the detective? Yes, that. Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said, I am an inspector from Scotland Yard. Oh. What?
Good lord! Order! Explain this photo face in your testimony, witness.
It's simple. A man who was at the park said to us, there was no such man. My die! What are you saying, Capo? Have you forgotten it? I have not forgotten nothing.
Nobody like this came to the park.
Basta, Capo, basta! You beat me at many things, but not two. The memory and the meals. Like I said, when it's time to eat the pasta, no one is a festa. But you are inferior to me in every other way, so shut up! Oh, double slam.
Truth out. The damage is done. Indeed it is, sir.
Oui. There was a man who came to the park and he said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard.
However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. He was someone else.
How can you be so sure?
Because, to start with, his face was completely different.
See, it's true. The man who came was a younger. His face was clean shaven. His eyes were sadder. His chin was thinner.
No resemblance whatsoever then.
Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution. I said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof. See, the couple here, he doesn't take on no nonsense, eh?
But he was well prepared. He said he had identification.
Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification?
That is most unconvincing.
Sorry, my lord?
Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question.
Definitely. Why would he expose his true identity?
Clearly the papers were fake.
Certo, Capo! You are a genius! As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, eh? And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? Yeah, what the fuck?
He became very annoying. He said, "You are under investigation."
So, I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was fantastico! And look, here is the identification. So he stole from the man. He had the coming. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said he was. She said he was.
Oh. Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered into evidence.
But I like them. The inspector's identification has been entered into the court record.
Now, let us return to the witness's testimony.
Okay, we got a little bit more information. Also, these two seem to be another parody of the Mario Brothers or something. It definitely seems to be the case, just like, oddly enough, the last case of the first game. Okay, what we got here? Let's open up this clasp, huh? Well, I suppose we should see what's... I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like. Inside. Dang. Look inside, this is me. Oh. Yes. It definitely looks fake, doesn't it?
Out of interest, what name is given?
Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's... Tobias Gregson. Excuse me? Wait. What?
This Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me.
But how?
And the department identification number details are all correct as well.
How do you know? How do we know this, actually? I don't remember. Since when have you known though? Yeah, okay. It wasn't just me. Do you mean to say?
I know it seems incredible, but yes. I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard.
But that's unbelievable.
This is the real thing after all?
What the fuck? Wait, so this is really his? Excuse me? Undercover my ass, Gregson.
What the fuck?
What the actual fuck? Yeah, I take back what I think my original thought of that this guy is the same as this guy. What a need, but no. Oh. Oh, he has no particularly distinctive facial features. I was gonna say... Well, skinny chin. He honestly could be the impersonator, who knows? Oh, he is dead now. I would assure you he's not in the park. But... we have his... We have his identification, no? The victim has nothing to do with us. But you have his card! I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Mr. Strayed! Why, Mr. Strayed?
What is your intention here, Counsel?
Is this really a fake, or is it genuine? That's the question, which we can't answer ourselves.
Objection!
Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen. But if he died the day before, then someone could have took it off him then, right? Oh, that would make sense.
That is the boss's, no question about it.
It can't be. As I suspected. The undercover detective who attended the Red Headed League's enrollment on the day in question. He was a killer, right? Oh, no, he was the real inspector? Was the real Inspector Gregson carrying out an incognito investigation? Wait, that doesn't make sense. His facial features don't match. Unless they're just lying. Like, if they're lying, sure. But, like... What would have been interesting... What makes me wonder is, like... Was it the killer pretending to be Gregson? To be annoying at the inspection? Wait, was this the day before, or was this the day of the murder? I am actually getting really confused. I'm actually, like, not sure if I got that correct or not. Anyways. Order! Order!
But if the boss had his identification stolen, he would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on at me about it. If you lose some reporter at once, he'd say.
Could it be then? That the inspector was physically unable to report it?
Physically? Eh? What are you saying?
Unable to... You're not suggesting... Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had the chance to report his identification stolen. Yes! Okay, I am on the right track. Okay. No! Order! 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 The defense posits that the victim was killed a day before his body was discovered at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that? I know nothing. I don't know nothing. Please a second, Peppino. Mon Dieu, if you can behave a little more like a master criminal than that, none. Now I wish I had returned to Italia. Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, The mayor, stop your whining and start talking.
Well, I believe the court will need to hear your story and...
I know nothing. I know nothing. But you will tell everything, or face the worst possible outcome.
You will dry your eyes and testify again about these identification papers and the precise circumstances on which you came by them.
For crying out loud. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. We took the man's identification from him and shoved him into a room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm. And the next morning, we let him go. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like prison, really. They actually kidnapped him.
This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man.
But no, no. It was not like a prison. He was very comfortable and calm and happy. Eh, Capo? He was never a part of my plan, I swear it. Oof. So, you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date at the ferry wrong. By one a little a day. I do not think it was your fault, Peppino. I know it. No. Por favor, Capo, is not a fair.
You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen.
Oof, I don't believe this. How could I have been a real detective?
Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination.
So a day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in his pair's hideout. Really strange. We took him prisoner and kept him for the night in our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. We took his identification, shut him in the room next to ours, and there might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like prison, really. Okay, a tussle, huh? What do you mean by a little tussle, exactly?
Both was nothing. Just a minor incident.
The false inspector, he was a real piece of the work, eh, couple? What happened? Uva, it was a disaster. We gave him a nice room, and what does he do? Huh? In the middle of the night, he tries to escape out through the ventilatore.
Can you blame him?
We chased him, bien sûr,
And we got him again.
Can you blame us? Wait, you didn't.
Shoot the man in your haste, did you?
What? Who do you think we are? Of course not. I simply got over him again and I'll come back to zero.
Excuse me.
Okay. Mr. DeRossi, is something wrong? Eh? Me? Something Mr. DeRusso just said seemed to make you, well, it seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. What was that all about? Cavolo, at times like that you don't wanna have the couple after you, believe me. And I speak from a personal experience.
Personal experience.
That is enough, Peppino. There is no need to say more. The truth is, the night before we put the Red-Headed League plan into action, I was scared. It was not fair to the couple, but I tried to run away.
It's a shame you didn't manage it.
But the couple here, he came after me like the turbine, eh? And he dragged me back into the house, kicking and screaming. I still have the bruises to prove it. Eh, couple.
Bruises, you say?
Oh, you wanna see, huh? You wanna see my fantastical bruises?
That's enough now, Peppino. No one wants to look at any part of you.
What to do, huh? I assure you, or I don't. I assure you, or I don't.
Oh my god.
You do! Now!
Allora, if everybody wants to see, then I do it.
Oh god.
Echo, you see? It's still very visible, eh?
That red ring around your neck. You got that when you were dragged back to the house?
See? The couple sometimes is very rough.
I said that's enough!
Peppino's neck has nothing to do with what we are talking about here.
You have my word. Yes. What is your opinion, Counsel?
About this red ring around Mr. DeRossi's neck? I wonder. Does it matter? I think it's important because I could have sworn that's on the photo. Mr. DeRossi, I'm gonna have to ask you to amend your testimony with details about that mark around your neck.
Eh, couple? You see? Everyone is interested in what I say, eh?
Very well. You will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. Rossi.
See. If you really want to, I don't know.
The color... It dried him back. Oh, he had a collar. Oh. Oh, I thought I saw... I could have sworn I saw... neck marks on something. Is it on the autopsy report? I could have sworn it was on his body. Caliber gun. No. Huh, I could have sworn I saw something on his neck. Oh, no, wait. I should present that because he doesn't have anything around his neck.
Oh, that means my hypothesis of it being, or my guess of it being, an imposter of Gregson with his ID card, because the description of him doesn't match. So this is perfect. This makes sense. So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was not like that. It was hardly a prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was only... However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains.
What inconsistency is this, Counsel?
Oh, wait! I know who I'm thinking about. There was somebody else with marks on their neck. I don't know if they're in the picture, though. It's this guy. He has the thing on his neck. That's what I was thinking of from the last part of the case. That's what it was. Gossip. Right.
What inconsistency is this, Counsel?
I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. So what does gossip have to do with the case, then? Other than impersonating Gregson. You will see that there's no red ring visible around his neck. Eh? But that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning. And I saw the red bruises on his neck, just like I have. Given that the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim. So, who was put on the collar more recently than Mr. DeRossi?
Indeed, that is most peculiar.
But, what will you tell you, huh? We say this from the beginning, many times. Oui, Peppino is right. The man in the photograph is someone different to the man we encountered tonight. I like how they always bring convenient box for shorter people.
Order! Order! Order!
It would appear, then, that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street was posing as an incognito inspector, who is not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection.
If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector's identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution made that assertion itself.
And we also know that the inspector had made a note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day. Which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely.
The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Gregson with whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation.
But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of the real inspector's identification?
Does the defense have some plausible explanation, Counsel?
The whole thing defies explanation.
It is for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in court record, Mr. Naruhodo. Because those are the facts, and the facts cannot lie.
No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Headed League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe.
Good gracious!
Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruhodo. So, why don't you help us all to see whatever truth is that you've apparently seen? Who exactly was this inspector that appeared before Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi? An imposter. Though it seems incredible, I admit, the undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. Oh, and it's gossip that explains why he was so annoying to them that night. Because he kept talking. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection.
On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in Park on Line Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that's right! We tell the same story every time! Whoever this man was, the couple dragged him from a pillar to a post with the dog collar. Mon Dieu, Peppino, it was not so harsh as you say, eh? So, who was that false inspector, eh? Who was he? Clearly, the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man these two imprisoned that night.
I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post-haste. Who did the witnesses encounter in the bar posing as Inspector Gregson?
So I didn't notice it. I mean, I did notice it in the last case, but it just took me a while to remember that. Yeah, he had a mark on his neck, and I was wondering about that.
Take that!
It's Mr. Gossip.
Goodness me! Isn't that?
One of the witnesses who was in a stand in this very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passers-by.
Objection!
What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses! Is this the man or not?
What has happened to his lip?
See, this man is not a red-headed lig, eh? He's looking for the twisted lip lig, no? Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead. It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noted something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. Eh? What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand.
Order! Order! Bailiff, bring the aforementioned witness back to the courtroom. Immediately!
Sheesh. Yep, there it is. Very obviously.
Well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed. And identical to that of the witness beside him.
Now what's going on here, eh? I've always said it's me. It's a birthmark, isn't it?
A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been called to the stand has been explained to you.
Hi, some of my inspector again. I'm telling you, you've got it all wrong, is it?
You're denying all knowledge of it.
Well, of course I am. Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh?
Well, at least you'll have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you?
Do we have any choice?
We are in bigger trouble, eh, capo?
That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony. The man who claimed to be an Inspector that day was definitely not this man.
He's right, see? You'd think we would have forget these grand lips, eh?
I'll never leave Fresno Street, alright? I've no interest in any red-headed leg. I'm all alone in the world, me. I've no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me, eh? Does it look like I could carry off at the sides from the face like this?
Well, you could have been socked in the face, that's for sure.
it would certainly appear that we have the wrong man.
What have I been telling you, eh? There is no need for this pointless testimony.
Ugh.
That's right. It's just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I have come by a police inspector's identification book, eh?
Well, yes, that's hard to explain, but...
A brief cross-examination, I think, counsel. Very brief.
Isn't there anyone in this courtroom who thinks I might be onto something? I stand steadfastly at your side as always, Mr. Naruhodo. Alright, so what are we gonna pick out here, huh? Definitely not him. Think we would forget these grand lips? I never leave Festival Street, or I have no interest in any red-headed lady.
Hold it!
You say this, but you have like the weird people next to you. You mean you have no family?
No, not at all. I spend my days on Fresno Street peddling tidbits to passers-by. Hoping, just between us, this is, that eventually someone else with lips like mine would come along.
I don't think so.
You may be right.
Anyway, that mark on your neck is just too much of a coincidence for us to ignore.
Well, what's a fellow to do then, eh? If you don't believe me, we're in an impasse. And there's nothing I can do but flick my lip.
It looks like I'm not going to get anywhere here unless I can produce some proof.
You're basically saying I got dressed up and posed as some fancy inspector, aren't you? Well, it's beyond me how you think I could do that. Just look at me, eh?
Does it look like a... Oh yeah, could it carry off in disguise with a face like this?
Hold it!
Maybe you could. Say, with a mustache? Or a beard to cover up that lip?
Why, perhaps. But if I was going to stick some fake facial hair on to cover up this fine specimen, I'd end up looking like his lordship over there, wouldn't I?
Pardon? I assure you my lips are entirely unremarkable. And I would ask you not to cast such scrutinizing looks at my direction, counsel.
Sorry, my lord. My imagination got the better of me there. Well, Inspector Grissom did wear a mustache, of course. You're right, he did! So, perhaps he was hiding something himself? He could barely have hidden a crumb in a mustache of that size. And anyways, the detective we spoke, which had no facial hair at all. See, the couple is right. He was clean-shaven.
It certainly seems beyond the premise a possibility that his witness could have disguised himself as a victim.
Oh, he does, and it is.
That's the extent of their testimony, is it? What's your feeling, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, what Mr. Gustav says is undeniable. It would be all but impossible to hide those lips with any form of disguise. Perhaps yes, but nevertheless, the mark around his neck is equally undeniable, and it's identical to the one that Mr. DeRossi suffered. Yes, that's true. But why does this whole disguise idea just keep playing on my mind? Huh. Actually, his hair. He's got, like, curls. Like this guy. And we don't really see his eyes, but his eyebrows are kind of similar. And his facial structure is kind of the same, too. There's no, like, distinctive cleft on here, but... That shirt, though. High collar, long sleeve.
I don't know about the long sleeve, but high collar. Covering up majority of his neck. It looks like he has, like, swelling on his nose, like he had a cold or something, so that excuses this difference. And the fat lip as well, fat lip, so... And we have this photograph, so I never made this connection before, but is he Virgil? Or Mr. Vigil? Huh. Oh! That would explain why he has the room. And, like, how he would know to go about stuff in that room. And how he would have gotten firecrackers, because he knows the match girl. Oh, it's kind of like falling into place now, in the second half. And this whole thing came out. Yeah, he could be Mr. He very well could be just Vigil. With fat lip. And just nothing really else of note. So I guess I'm just gonna have to press everything and see if anything pops up from...
Hold it!
I'm going, hold on and all that. So you say, but how can you be quite so certain? There is no need to hurt your hands on the desk, monsieur. Surely the reason is obvious, no? Because I have never before seen lips like this. Nevertheless, there's a clear red mark around Mr. Goss's neck. It looks very much like that left behind on the neck of your colleague by your prized collar. Mon Dieu, is this... With your words, it's like you try to wring my neck. It does look very much like a neck, though, eh? No, this is a birthmark, lad. The biggest lips in London and a neck to die for. They broke the mold and they made me. For the first time in my life, I feel lucky to have been born with the red hair. And I thought being Japanese made you stand out in London. So you maintain that you've never seen this man before? Oui, c'est ça. I swear it, swear to it by the flames of my hair. So fierce pride has outgrown the frustration with your hair now, has it?
Hold it!
Well, yes, I don't imagine I'll forget those lips in a hurry, either. That is what I am saying. What am I saying? For some reason it makes me want to eat. How about Fabien call it? An eclair? You know? I've never seen the hair as black as yours before either. Likewise. I've never seen red hair like yours until I came to Britain. See, maybe it is a national trait, eh? Maybe all the people from this man's country have a grand lips. No, lad, I was born right here in Fresno Street, and I've never left. Oofa! That is the problem, you see. So you definitely didn't go to the park on Lion Street that day, Mr. Gossip. Now, how many times do you want me to say that?
Hold it!
So, you had heard of the Red-Headed League, had you? You don't get a name like Gossip for nothing, eh? It's my business to know what's going off in town. I sold that tasty tidbit to a fair few bit redheads that came past me. Just between us, I even got sandwich to cover up for it. Well, he does have a very red nose, if that counts. Who knows? But as you can see, my own hair is not got a hit of red in it. And in any case, Fresno Street's my pitch. You won't catch me sliding off to some other part of town. No, sir. Not likely. Oh. I guess we'll pursue him. Mr. Russo! Can I help you? Did Mr. Gossip's words just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps? It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park. A small house or something. To be the headquarters of your red-headed league, yes. I visited an housing agent on Line Street and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent.
What?
Mr. Gossip? Was a housing agent? With an housing agent? Oui. He had some kind of contract in his hand and they were clearly discussing terms.
No. You're mistaken, chum. I've never left Fresno Street, me. Like I said before. You're mistaken me for somebody else. Someone with the same face.
No, the couple is right. I remember it at the two. It was paying the man with the banknotes. With notes?
Like I said, that was to me.
I was curious why this man with the dirty clothes had so much money. So I looked at the name on the papers. And what name was written? Mr. Gossip? Oh my god, please. Please confirm me. It's Vigil? No. It's a man. He lies. He tells you that he has a no name. Wait. Oh wait, no, not Mr. Vigil, but whatever the other name was. Oh, the name was leased to... The house was leased to some... Oh god, what was it even? What was the name? I don't remember the name, but I know it was loaned to somebody. It had a name. Bone? Something? But in fact, his name is Hugh Bone, huh? He's better than Mr. Gossip, I think, is he? Yeah, Hugh Bone.
No! I'm a peddler. Give me some information like I said. I'm Fresno Street and that's it. I don't much like folk talking about my personal life.
Indeed. And it is not the intention of the court to invade the privacy of witnesses. Very well. I shall respect all wishes, sir. The aforementioned names shall be redacted from all court records of this trial, assuming no obligations.
I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because that name just mentioned has a very deep significance to this case.
Good gracious! Do similarly object, Professor Asogi. Asogi.
As it happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings.
But I never! In what capacity?
Hugh Bone. The name of the leaseholder of the room!
Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. I suggest, sir, that you start talking.
Well, alright. I suppose that might be the case, eh?
He killed Gregson because... So your real name is Hugh Bone?
Well, just between us, I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but it's no fun a peddling of tidbits in the town. So I happen to be able to afford a grubby little room in a falling down backstreet townhouse.
You do?
And once every 6 months, I go and pay the rent to the agent on Lom Street. I remember now. There were 2 vocal relatives in there last time.
If either of us is a vulgar, this is not a me.
Think again, Peppino.
Why didn't you bring this up before?
It's like I told you already. I don't like talking about my personal life. I'm a tidbit peddler as far as anyone else is concerned. A fish.
You will update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation, Mr. Bone.
If I must.
So the leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for since the body was discovered. Has been here under our noses all along. Okay, so I've already taken the guess that he's Mr. Vigil. Because it's definitely him. The curly hair, the eyebrows match, the long collar. He probably just had a fat lip and a cold, you know? And he was dismissed in relation to the professor case because he supposedly let the guy go. Which explains the whole shallow grave thing. Guy not actually being dead, execution to get carried out, etc. So, I'm thinking that this is his conspiracy board. And he has the whole Redhead League thing on this board because he knows that a certain inspector was looking towards that case. And because of that, he knew I have a way to get my revenge on him somehow. I don't know if, like, I think killing him might have been tied to it. This revolver is probably his, actually, because he used to be a guard, or he used to be associated with the prison, which makes me think he might have got to shoot a gun. And then with that, his dismissal got him angry at everyone involved with the professor case, which includes Gregson. So he got his revenge on Gregson, he killed him. And he knew about the Redhead League thing, so he used that as cover-up, probably. Because he wanted to impersonate Gregson to, like, kind of ruin him or something, maybe? There's some, I don't know, like, the exact reason why he wanted to impersonate him, but, like, other than the fact that, well, he definitely wanted revenge on Gregson. I don't know why he killed him. I mean, I know why he killed him, because he wants revenge, but, like, I don't know if it was an accident or if it was on purpose. But this is definitely his gun, I think. I think that's what we're gonna get to. Maybe. That's my guess. We'll see. Well, what difference it makes? Well, I mean... So we got this statement, man. I went to the room where the fellow was found, it's true. What difference it makes. I'm all alone in the world. And we know he's Mr. If we assume he's Mr. Vigil. And this is in the room. He's not alone in the world. You know? If you have no kinfolk, as you put it, then explain why is that among... Well, then explain why it is that among the sparse furnishings we found in this photograph... among the sparse furnishings, we found this photograph in the room. I presume, as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not? Oh, well, Mr. Bone, drop the pretense, and tell the court exactly who you really are. Ha, I don't know what you mean. Oh, Peddler, I keep telling you so. You really don't need to bother with me. Please, just leave it alone. As the man says, leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case. Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson.
Objection!
How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features.
Objection!
But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean?
Yes, Counsel. What do you mean?
Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boone's lip is... Boone, whatever the fuck you want to call him, is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip is itself part of an elaborate disguise. Then hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Bone? Ah!
Good! Witness! Are you still hiding the truth from this court?
If that's a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be...
Yes, that's right. There's really only one person he could really be. My lord, the defense believes it can reveal Mr. Bone's true identity to the court.
No,
Please, no.
Anyone can counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Mr. Gossip on the street?
It's Vigil.
Take that!
Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Dally Vigil.
I don't recall the name, counsel. Who is this Mr. Vigil?
It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Sir Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in his photograph, in fact, this is Miss Vigil.
What?
From what I understand, you haven't returned home since that night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive by the two red-headed leaguemen. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial. Because we've been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich are all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And it explains why you've not only been unable to return to home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry, waiting for you at the Vigil residence.
No, just hold you 1 minute.
What I'm talking about, really. It's a simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull off that disguise.
No, please.
Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a washbowl at once. Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi, you will restrain the witness. Oui, my lord.
See, my lord. At least they're being cooperative.
No! Stop! Get off! Don't!
Oh, it was a fake lip. What? His hair color is, cleaned up, I suppose? Yeah, it was tarnished, huh? You had a fake lip this whole time? What the what even? Well, I guess that makes sense. He had a fake lip because he actually was going home. It was just literally only the day before that night he was missing.
I see.
Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume.
Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face.
Well, I had him talking like this, but
I think he's gonna have a more proper voice now.
It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. This has all been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses, tell the court, have you seen this man before?
I don't believe it, but... See, there is no question. He's the inspector we saw in the park.
Extraordinary!
On the day of the Red-Headed League enrollment, the man claiming to be Inspector Gregson who appeared before Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi in the park. It was you, disguised as the inspector, or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all? Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warder at Barclay Prison.
The chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why, you would quite possibly have become the future governor of the prison. What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street?
Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years.
I'm dreadfully sorry about all this. Let me hear my proper voice. I'm terribly, dreadfully sorry about all this. Yes, it's true. I am very vigilant. And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago? So where did Mr. Hugh Bone come from? Bone is the other me. It's a name I invented.
Well, evidently there is a great deal on the surface here.
I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. Oh shit. Is this the end of the case already? Oh my god, I think it is. Or the end of this trial. So something's gonna pop up to connect this to... I mean, this is the connection to the whole professor case, so... What's gonna pop up after this? Confession. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay as Barclay's chief warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. Times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation, one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Bone, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. The scene of the very crime we're investigating. Yes, that's right. A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler, and transform myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room, but that explained it. But why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place? I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons, and without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I could bring myself to disappoint them. So instead, you decided to conceal your occupation from them. Yes. I've made such a terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing hasn't added up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6 pence apiece, you couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison.
Very true. You've kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment.
That was all thanks to the Inspector Gregson. Oh, he helped you? Oh, that's an interesting twist. Maybe he didn't want revenge. What? Inspector Gregson? What on earth? Wait, was he killed by somebody else then? Shit. It was some 10 years after I'd invented Boone and born and begun my other life as a street seller. The inspector, that is, recognized me one day.
You mean to say, the victim was an acquaintance of yours?
I knew him from my time working at prison. When he saw that I'd become what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Then one day, he asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him. A secret? What was it? Oh, the secret assignment was for you to investigate stuff. I was to impersonate the inspector What? Impersonate him? We always met in that little room so the inspector could brief me.
Visit across these tomorrow and take a statement from the proprietress.
It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially.
A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquishes identification into your care with intent to deceive. That, as I'm sure I need not point out, is a very serious criminal offense.
But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions.
Now remember, Visual, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if, well, if I end up a croaker.
In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second office for him. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me, acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my boon disguise, and then went as instructed to the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. He really likes holding his head in a really weird way. I wonder why. Gregson probably felt really bad too about the connection to the professor case, probably. I have some more thoughts. I'll add them on it after we get through this drama, you know? Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case.
Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asogi.
My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered. At the hands of these two red-headed leaguemen when they imprisoned the inspector. But no, that can't be. Why does he keep sliding? He's trying. After all, it was the inspector who went to the park that day. It was me. Oh, goodness.
Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murder of the inspector.
And merci, Monsieur de la Defense, for proving it. What? But this does make me think it's definitely a murder. It was before, though.
Order! 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 Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim, as proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination.
Hold it!
Cosmo? Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Cosmo?
What question, counsel?
It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago? The execution of the professor, Genshin Asogi.
I want to know exactly what your involvement was.
Oh,
Answer me, man. One moment, Counsel. Is this related to the current case?
naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the event of 10 years ago are inextricably linked.
Does the defense concur, Counsel?
Kazuma, you're not yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual. Poor Kazuma-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Isogi's last moments, his own father. I know. I do understand that. But even so... Prosecutor Isogi, do you genuinely believe that the question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Grayson's death? I need you to trust me, please. Very well. Then the defense has no objection.
I see. In that case, you will answer the question, witness.
The truth is, I remember very little of that time.
You've forgotten?
I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy. Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry?
Well, 10 years ago is a long time. But to have forgotten the reason why he left such an important job... Yes, you're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily. Which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry, the human spirit. I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't. Kazuma-sama. What if it must be crushed, then so be it. Because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out, one way or another. Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth. At any cost. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? Fucking do it! I have no idea how this is going to go. But this is a core law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of events. You will let go. Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Ah, well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post of Chief Warder of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? Oh, no I don't. This is a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice? And the name on the notice is yours, Mr. Vigil. What? What? It's mine? So you didn't resign from the prison service at all. For some reason, you were dismissed as chief warder from Barclay. No, there's been some mistake, I'm sure. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. This dismissal notice is nonsense. Isn't it? If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and have you remember. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on 17th June 10 years ago. And on that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison. The 17th of June? Was that? The professor's execution? Professor? As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. It does sound familiar. And yet, that execution never took place. The convict, ostensibly executed earlier that day, later re-emerged from his grave. The convict came back to life. In a cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness.
However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convict clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments.
Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must know the truth of about what really happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on the 17th of June 10 years ago. And now it's time for you to drag them up. Mr. Vigil? Yes, the hope is in. It was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane. What? Order! Order! Order!
Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of the time have returned?
Oh, my head. It's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams. Oh, my goodness. The papers. There were reports, articles, about the man who'd seen a ghost. Yes, and I'll grab her.
But surely those reports were exaggerated.
There were traces at the scene.
Traces of what?
In Lowgate Cemetery, a plot number 139. Blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there. The
depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering.
We've reviewed the police records from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigating team was the member of the prison staff must have been involved.
Are you suggesting the prison warder abetted a man's bid for freedom?
Yes. Yes, and I was suspected of doing it. Of using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape.
You did what?
I remember now. The horror of it all coming back to me. One evening a few days after the execution, some detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower.
I'm sorry, Dele. This is a serious business. But I cannot help you know. As chief warder, you are responsible for overseeing the execution of four, eh? Well, it seems the fellas at Scotland Yard want to have a few wee words with you about it. You'd better pack your things, laddie. You're to attend the person.
As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, the professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. And now I let him escape. I'm finished. My life. It's over.
Order! Bailiff, fetch a doctor at once.
So it's not a revenge thing from him. It's somebody else? Someone tied to the whole conspiracy. Killing Gregson.
Court is adjourned for today with immediate effect.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day. Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean. Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma, and Gregson. All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
Shit.
There's one more part to this whole episode too. Like, damn. It seems like one of those things in the series where like it's a cliffhanger, and then it continues on to the next part. But I'm pretty sure that there's a fourth part. Yeah, there's a fourth part of this, and it's investigation. What? Okay, so my guess of him being a killer is actually completely wrong. It turns out he's actually been helped by him, which is... Yeah. So... with that in mind, that means that... Oh, but then... we know that Strongheart sent... We know Strongheart sent, Van Zeeks on a mission. And Van Zeeks was like, okay, so he went. And that's where he got... Then he got framed at the murder. So that could have been Strongheart's intention, is that he sends him off to get framed for the Gregson's killing. Because it makes sense to do that. But yeah, so Vigil wasn't on revenge. He just legitimately was working with Gregson, and that's the whole conspiracy. And then Strongheart knew that Gregson was doing stuff there, so he knew exactly where to find him in a weird time of day. Interesting. So then, Who killed Gregson? That is the question. And the gun can belong to literally anybody now in Scotland Yard if we're assuming Strongheart's involved, so. Huh. There's a lot to sit on this. Also, that was really short, but I think I'm still doing 4 parts because it just seems a little bit, you know, I think it's cooler when I do it in all by the parts and sections. But yeah. Very interesting revolutions, though, this chapter, I must say. Alright, so next time we're gonna, I guess, cap off episode 4 by doing the investigation. And then I'll be ready to continue on part 5 after I go to Anime Expo and then come back. So, damn. Yeah. We'll finish it off next week. I'll go on a break and then I'll come back. And I have a special thing I'm gonna have for the 5th episode, though, or for the last episode of this game. So yeah. There's not really any raid targets tonight, so I think I'm just gonna end it there. But yeah, pretty early night. Only about 2 hours of this case. But yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Good cliffhanger. We'll see where it ends up next time. So yeah, if you've been paying attention, come next week, 23rd, same time, 1 PM PST, etc. So yeah. I don't know if I'm streaming anytime in the near future. Maybe sometime randomly next week. If I do, it'll be Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah. I hope you all have a good rest of your evening. I hope you enjoyed your time here for the brief time it has been, surprisingly. Like, I thought that last part would take a while. But I guess since it's only the 3rd part, that means this investigation section might be pretty beefy. So I guess we'll see next week. But yeah. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and yeah. Good night. See you next time. Bye.